Hey guys, welcome back. 𝐷𝐢𝐻 here today with a new video. Now this is pretty exciting, another Marvel Rivals guide, this time on Thor. Believe it or not, they just dropped two new characters in the middle of the closed beta. Thor and Jeff the Baby Landshark. Both are now in the game, bringing the roster up to 23 characters, believe it or not, and we're still not even at launch, where we know there's going to be a couple more new ones as well. Now, Thor is very complex looking, but when you play him, he's kind of more like button mesh 𝐌𝐚𝐫𝐯𝐞𝐥 style. So they have him listed as 2 difficulty. To me, he's more complex than that. He has a lot of combo potential within his own abilities, like he builds into his other abilities. We're going to go over all of his abilities and all of his synergies today, but I think first we'll start with the synergies. Now, Thor actually has 2 synergies, one called Odinson Reborn. If you remember the Hela guide or the Loki guide, any of that, if you can check those out, it works the same as that. If you have a Hela on your team and then you're playing Thor, if you die as Thor, if Hela is able to kill someone before you respawn, so during that like 5 or 6 second respawn window where you're just kind of spectating for a second, if she gets a full final last hit, it will bring you back to life with full health wherever you stand, and it is extremely powerful. Now, if she kills someone and you're nearby but not dead, it will also grant you a little bit of bonus health, and this will like overheal you as well if you have full health. So having a Hela on your team is already a very strong character. Check out the Hela guide to see how good she is. If you have a Hela, anytime she's getting a kill, it's going to bring you straight back to life. If you guys are sort of teamed up together, you go down and she finishes off like their healer or someone squishy with, a couple headshots. Boom, a tank Thor, fully back, full health, all his cooldowns are ready to go. It's kind of insane. And that brings us to his next synergy called Thunderous Deity. Now this is with Storm, and it's exactly what I was talking about in the Storm guide. I know I'm talking about all these different videos, but we were saying she needs something else in her kit. She's missing like one more ability. Well, when you play with a Storm and a Thor together, it gives Storm an extra ability on her C key to shoot out like this lightning barrage that spreads to enemies nearby. So it's an extra damage doing ability for Storm. So again, having a Thor and a Storm together on the same team is a pretty solid combination. It doesn't exactly benefit you as Thor really, but it does give Storm an extra ability and an extra bit of damage DPS that she's able to put out. And as well as all of this, anytime you're doing any sort of synergies in the game at all, it's going to give a stat boost to both people in that synergy. So as you can see on the screenshot of the abilities here, 100 max health for Thor extra if he has someone synergizing with him. So pretty cool stuff. And now I think we can move on to the abilities. So like I said, Thor is pretty complex, from outside of the box, but I honestly haven't had enough time to really fully get into them. We're just going to read all the abilities and how they work, and, the footage is me kind of button mashing, trying to get this guide up for you guys. Like, he just came out, and I want to get it out to you guys as fast as possible, but we will go over all of his abilities, starting with Mjolnir Bash, where you wield Mjolnir to strike enemies, and when awakened, you can be launching lightning arc waves, which we'll get to that, but right off the bat, you just hold left click and you're going to be swinging melee. So this is a melee character, but he does have quite a lot of range, and he has a movement ability that helps him really close the gap as well. But in general, your main attack is Mjolnir Bash, holding left click. There's no like reload or ammo or anything like that. You're just swinging melee. Now, if you hold left shift, you will spin and then you will dash forward. You can dash upwards, laterally, anywhere you're aiming. You can jump and do it. So you can actually close a large gap here. And I'm talking like, their healer who maybe overstayed their welcome a little bit too long and he's trying to run away. You can just close that gap and hit them with this barrage of damage, and you're already so tanky too that it is quite formidable foe when a Thor comes flying at you. So you can hold shift, like I said, you spin it, and you can hold this for quite a while, and if you hold it too long, he'll stop spinning it and it won't go off, but you can re-go with it right away. And this will dash forward, and it'll also knock back enemies, so potentially you can knock someone into a pit or off the edge of the map or something like that. Now, something interesting with Thor, I'll put up some background stuff of me just in the training range so you can see how stuff kind of works and like how his combo potential works. all of his abilities that aren't just like his left click they share the same cooldown, meaning like when you do one, you have to wait a second or two to do another one, and you'll see this on screen in the bottom right. If I like throw Mjolnir, which we're going to get to that's right click, it's called hammer throw. You throw Mjolnir forward and then it returns. Very simple. This is your little ranged attack, and you can see in the middle of the screen you have like charges of how many times you can do that. So you throw Mjolnir, that's going to like use up a charge, and then you'll see that the other things go on like cooldown. So you can't dash immediately after throwing Mjolnir, but your E has like a separate cooldown that you can always do your E regardless of what other ability you just did. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but if you keep an eye on things, you know, whenever you're basically doing like your F, your right click, or your shift, the other ones are going to go on cooldown. The main thing you're going to notice is after you throw a hammer, you can't do anything for like a second or two besides just normally attack or go straight into your E. But moving on, the E is called Lightning Realm, and it summons lightning to restore Thor Force based on the number of hit enemies. Now try and keep up with me here, it gets complex. Thor Force is his passive, and it is after using any ability. If you cast your Mjolnir Bash, your left click, you get 1 point of Thor Force. So Thor Force, I believe, is the displayed hammer charges in the middle of the screen. It's also sort of like overcharge healing that he gets. You can see that anytime I hit with the right click hammer throw, I'm actually getting like 100 health over healed onto me, and then it can go up even further if you hit them with your E and then are hitting them with your melee. You just get a bunch of like passive overhealing coming in as you're doing damage, and it makes him very, very tanky. And so like I said, the E, Lightning Realm, summons lightning to restore Thor Force based on the number of hit enemies. This is like a bubble that comes out around you, so you kind of have to dive to do it, which makes it combo really well with Storm Surge. So you use your left shift, dive into like 2 or 3 people, and hit your Lightning Realm E that will put this bubble around you. And then you're going to want to hit with Mjolnir after, since you just cast a different ability. That's going to grant you Thor Force as well. All of this is to try and grant you as much like overhealing and like Thor Force as you can. So as many Mjolnir hits after throws or dashes or E's, all leading into you then activating your F, which is the Awakening Rune that will consume all the Thor Force that you've sort of accumulated, that will also grant you more bonus health and enhances your left click normal attack. And now, instead of being only a melee short ranged hammer whack, it is now these massive lightning arcs that do quite a lot more damage, and you can hit from further away, pretty far away. It also attacks much faster. It's sort of like a couple hit combo, and then you come out of it and you go back to, you know, comboing your dash with your E, back in a left click, then eventually your F again. You just want to be constantly like putting the attack on people, and this is going to give you that Thor Force and that overhealing shield sort of health regen as well. And then finally, if that's not all too much for you, God of Thunder is the ultimate on Q, where you soar upward, and on screen you'll have an ascend and a descend option. I think you just like hold spacebar to ascend higher. You can go up and down. It's very short amount of time, and you can also control yourself like moving around as well. And then you will drop down and do damage to the enemies in the sort of ring on the ground below you, dealing just a good little punch of damage. Now, I did not have enough gameplay footage for Thor in the background because this is a lot to go over. But in general, he's just a damage dealing tank who's really good at disrupting enemies, and honestly the amount of damage you put out with the melee is quite substantial. The only time you're really going to have struggling with Thor is if they're using like all ranged characters, like maybe there's an Iron Man way in the back and a Hela way in the back, and they're, you know, hitting you with shots like you're on payload or something. But if you're playing capture point especially, Thor is going to be ideal, like completely insane. Anywhere where they need to be near you, hitting them with Mjolnir just does so much damage, and you can hit multiple people at once. You just swing it around like crazy, and then, you know, just spam all your abilities until you can awaken with F, and then, you know, rinse and repeat. That's sort of the combo that you want to just be doing with Thor again and again, and you're going to be seeing some good results, because my guy is busted. I mean, these new characters are across the board all extremely strong, which I guess is just so that there's a lot of hype behind them. But, you know, Venom, Thor, Jeff, maybe Warlock a little lesser than them, but even he's quite good. They're all very, very strong. And like I said, other guides coming up. There's a Venom guide you can go check out if you'd like. But thank you guys so much for watching the Thor guide. I appreciate you. I stayed up way too late. It's like 4 a.m. I probably won't finish doing this and editing and thumbnailing until like almost 6 a.m. But I wanted to get the video out for you for Thor, right? So if you enjoyed, leave a like. I really appreciate it. The reason the gameplay in the back kind of looped around is just like I said, I don't have time to be playing him because I want to be making the content for you. So if you don't have the closed beta, there's going to be an open beta eventually, and then that'll probably lead right into launch. That's what people are sort of thinking. And if you would like to see more Marvel Rivals, be sure to check out the channel. I have a nice playlist of a bunch of different guides, and eventually I'm going to have a guide for everyone in there, and then we can get to just making fun videos playing the game. All sort of Marvel Rivals stuff. Be sure to subscribe. All kinds of different games as well. Leave a like if you enjoyed, if this helped you. Comment if you have any questions. Anything that changes with Thor before launch or at launch or whatever, I'll pin in a comment any sort of changes that he gets. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thor go kind of crazy. Thor go kind of nutty.